Hey YouTube. So you've got the flashing lights on Mitsubishi Pajero. I'll show you how to fix it. You don't need one of these, but they can help you diagnose the problem. They're cheap off eBay. They just plug in under the dash and they can tell you if a fault code exists. For me, there's no fault code, so I'm going to skip to the next step. So my problem is that when I start it, I've got flashing front wheels. So I have to work on that. To work on it, you kind of got to understand how the system works. So first of all, you just need to double check that you're in too high. Sometimes you might need to cycle through and double check that everything's working. So when I put it from too high into 4 high, I can hear a noise and then I get 4-wheel drive. When I go back to too high now, I get the flashing lights. So essentially it's not recognizing that I'm back in 2-wheel drive. Sometimes you'll take it for a drive 5 or 10 minutes and those front flashing wheels will go away. But I know in this case that it's not. I've driven it and I know that the flashing lights stay there. So I'll move on to the next step. Okay, so I'm going to get down under the car. Because I'm a wuss, I need rubber mats. So when this is under the front, next to the front diff. So when you put it in 4-wheel drive and back into 2-wheel drive, this shaft moves along this way. And there's a sensor. It's a little ball bearing type sensor and it just plugs in up here. And that detects if you're in 4-wheel drive or 2-wheel drive, which makes up part of a system. There's a way to check this, which I'll show you now. But what you really need to do first is get someone to move it from 4-wheel drive to 2-wheel drive and just double check that that's moving. You'll hear it actually go across. This thing here is actually vacuum actuated. So when it gets vacuum, it moves the shaft. But anyway, get someone to move it from 2 to 4, check that that's moving. If it is, we'll move on to this step here. So I've got the multimeter hooked up to the sensor. The sensor's out of the car now. As you can see, it's just a little ball bearing type. So when that shaft moves across, the ball bearing pushes in, and then when it's back into 2-wheel drive, the ball bearing's released. So to check it, you need to get your multimeter and put it onto resistance and push the ball bearing down manually with your hand, and you should get a reading of 4 to 5 ohms, roughly. So if I let it go, it'll go back. And then when I push it down, you'll get that reading 4 to 5 ohms. So I know that that sensor's right. The best thing is you can do that while it's in the car. Just unplug this end, chuck some connectors onto the loom, and then you can get someone to cycle it from 2 high to 4 high. And when that shaft moves across that I showed you before, you should be able to see the multimeter change to the correct resistance. If that isn't happening, so if you're getting some weird numbers or they jump around a lot, then this sensor's stuffed. You need to replace that. Okay, so now we're at the front of the car, and for Australians that's on the driver's side, and just behind the headlight you'll see these solenoids. Now these also make up part of the Super Select 2 4-wheel drive system. And essentially what they do is when you move the stick from 2 high to 4 high, a series of vacuums operate to take the diff in and out of 4-wheel drive, as well as send a signal back to the transmission as well. So up this end, there's a series of vacuum pipes. Now, this one here, just for the sake of showing you, this one here was like that, and there's another pipe that goes from this one here that you can see that's shiny up to this solenoid here. And for me, the plastic solenoid had actually snapped. So that for me is a simple fix. I need to change out this solenoid, but I'll show you something on the test bench anyway, because there's a good chance yours aren't going to be snapped. They're all going to be in place. So we're going to actually test these solenoids now. To check the solenoids, you're going to get a little 12-volt battery. Just find whatever you can find, or you can use your car battery or a power source, whatever. and you're going to hook it up to the solenoid. When you hook it up, you should hear a click. So I can hear that actuating every time I touch the positive. I can hear that actuating. Make sure you're not confusing it with the electrical buzz that can happen when you hook your leads up. But yeah, you'll feel the solenoid actuate as well. So you just check it. They should both be clicking. Make one click, and then when you take it away, it should undo. That's how you check it. If you hook yours up and it's not clicking, then the solenoids are faulty. 9 out of 10 flashing lights is this front solenoid. So yeah. Also, this is something that I find really common on with these solenoids, right? Is when they're in the car, they're like positioned like this. And what you've got to understand is the solenoids are color coded. So the one on the right's blue, the one on the left's yellow, and the pipes in the car are also color coded. So this one's yellow and the other one in the car's blue. But when you stand these solenoids up vertically, don't ask me why, and it's a bit hard to see, but can you see there's a blue mark on this connector here, right there? And it's confusing because when you have a quick glance down, you go, oh, yep, that one must be blue. And that one must be, so you just assume, well, that one's yellow. You can't see anything when it's in the standing up vertical position. And especially with the pipes on it, because what most people do is bowl that in, hook these pipes up, and then they go, all right, which one does it go to in the car? And then you see the blue mark on here and go, oh, that's blue. Don't ask me why, but every solenoid that I find, it's got that blue mark on it. Don't ask me why, but don't confuse them. This is the blue solenoid. This is the yellow. Make sure the pipes are connected to the corresponding metal pipes on the car. So, replace the solenoid that had the little snap fitting on it, and it's all plumbed back up. So we'll give it a go. Let the vacuum build back up, because when you unplug the pipes, you'll hear like a hiss of where the actual like vacuum is lost out of the system. So yeah, just let it run for a bit. Just run your this back and forth a couple of times. I'm just going reverse a little bit. And yeah, you can see, so once you've had it running and the just run it through the full drive cycle a couple of times, and that's it. You'll have no more flashing front tires. If you've got the center light flashing, that's a whole different set of troubleshooting. So yeah, just hit like and subscribe, and I'll do another video on that. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe.